Okay. Welcome to the Fallout post-apocalyptic edition. I don't know why I do this with my hands every time I say it, but we're just going to keep going with it because now it's canon, where we break down the fallout of your favorite reality television shows. Today, we are here recapping episode 4 of Big Brother Canada season 9. I'm Logan Murphy.
I am Jordyn Lagace, also known as Big Brother Canada Source.
And I am Santiago Martinez Alaman.
And Santi's back!
Yay!
Yay! Insert yay noise.
Yeah, insert applause. All of the sound effects here because Santi is back with us as our regular Wednesday correspondent. Santi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you about you guys?
Alive.
Good.
Alive.
Alive
Yes,
is kind of where we're at right now. We've got a pretty good episode, I would say. Pretty better than better than Monday.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so we'll get into that and also some questionable live feed updates for y'all. But before we get started with that, if you are listening to us on YouTube, either live or after the fact, make sure you're liking and subscribing, commenting in the chat, doing all of those YouTube things. And if you're listening to us after on wherever podcasts are available, make sure that you are hearting, liking, subscribing, doing all of those things there as well. And without further ado, let's get into this episode where we start with the fallout of Austin's nominations for the week. If y'all remember, Austin nominated Josh and Kiefer for eviction. We get a clip of Josh saying that he's not mad at Austin. And we get a DR saying that he wants to compete for his spot, and Kiefer reiterating that veto is important, which any Big Brother fan knows that veto is kind of the most important thing out of a week. And we get a DR from Austin as well, talking about how it was important for her to win HOH to keep Team Destiny safe. And I think I mentioned it in a previous, it may have been Monday's episode. I actually don't remember, but I did talk about how I thought Austin winning this HOH wouldn't really be good for her game in the long run, and that it was more to keep Destiny safe. What do y'all think about that?
I'll let Santi start because he's back while I sort this out.
I was going to say, without revealing too much, I feel like Austin's going to walk away from this week with her hands clean. I think the Ghost HOH is going to walk away with a lot more enemies than this week started with. But I think Austin's just going to fade back into the background. She literally has no blood in her hands, whatever way this goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. This week is going to get messy. I feel like tomorrow's episode is going to be something.
Absolutely.
Will she walk away with her hands clean? I'm not so sure about that.
I don't think 100% clean, but I think if Austin can do what all good first HOHs do and kind of, okay, I was the first HOH, I'm going to fade back. The number one example I always think of is Hayden from BB12.
Yeah.
As much as I may not like him as a person, like he took the first HOH, made a safe move, and then kind of fell back. And I don't think he won another competition for a few weeks. But the difference between looking at someone like Hayden and looking at Austin is that Hayden put himself in a very powerful 4-person alliance, which dominated the entire season. Whereas Austin, and we'll get into it a little bit throughout the episode and with the live feed spoilers as well, Austin hasn't really positioned herself in a cross-team alliance other than really, trying to stay Destiny strong. And I don't know if that's going to be, beneficial for her in the long run.
I have a good example about first HOH. I had to look it up. Lisa Donahue was the first HOH in Big Brother Canada 3, and she was not HOH again until the last week when she won. So maybe Austin can pull that off.
BBCAN 3 or
No,
BB3?
BB3.
You said BB
Yeah, I was
Can.
gonna
Oh,
say,
my
like,
bad. I was
I
like,
know
why are you looking at me?
there's a
when-
few. Because Lisa was
I was like-
HOH first. Hayden was HOH first. Rachel Riley, and Nicole Franzel are the four that I remember off the top of my head that won the first
don't
HOH
speak
and
of
then
that
won their
name on this
seasons.
podcast.
Well, okay, this is the only time I'm going to mention Nicole Franzel. But anyway, getting into the episode, we do finally get, and us live feeders have been seeing this alliance since feeds came on. We finally get mention of the Sunsetters Alliance on the episode, which we find out formed day 4, so we still didn't really have feeds at that point. And for those of y'all that don't watch feeds, this alliance is Beth, LaToya, Kiefer, Tina, Jedson, and Tashawn. And we get a good segment here of the Tina and Toya show, which I'm actually kind of liking. I don't love LaToya, but I love Tina working with LaToya in this moment. We get the Tina and Toya show kind of talking about how no one really suspects them. It's a cross-team alliance. We see 3 people from Destiny and 3 people from Defender on this team. And so
I think it was wise to have 3 like split it a little.
Yeah.
Because people are gonna start coming down with the ship of team. What the hell?
Defender.
Yes.
The one with less people.
Yes, them.
Santi, what do you think about this alliance we've got going on?
You have a lot of people. I don't know. I don't see this alliance going very far. I feel like Tina and Toya may be stronger going forward, and Jed and Ty will be a pair going forward. But Beth and Kiefer, they're just kind of out there.
Yeah.
Beth with the showmance, but that's a whole other topic that we'll get to later.
Ooh.
We will get into that. We do get an Austin and Kiefer conversation about how Josh cannot win the veto, obviously, because Austin's target is Josh this week, just based on the actions of week 1 and sort of the repercussions of Miss Julie Vu. The influence is still in the house. She may not be there, but her influence
she's
is still there.
there.
Absolutely. Yep. And we get a good, I've seen a couple of these on the feed, so I was excited. We saw one. We see a Josh strategy session with the cameras.
I am living for Josh with the cameras.
I loved that.
Thank you for talking to us. I feel like I get that, like, he's talking to us, filling us in on his game, but also really has nobody. So he's counting on Canada and just like aimlessly talking to us, which I'm living for.
Yeah, I agree. I always like when we have, there's usually one person a season that is like cognizant enough to like talk to cameras. Across a couple seasons of BBUS, it was Davon because she is a big fan. So she was always, talking to cameras, doing like the pretends to be shocked is like one of my favorite feeding into the cameras moments. But yeah, I'm glad that we get someone talking to the cameras this season. I didn't think it was going to be Josh, but I'm happy to see that, it's someone.
I wonder if it was intentional or if it's because of circumstance. Because, like, for instance, like Davon went into the game and she's like, I'm going to talk to the cameras. Dr. Will went in there and said, I'm going to talk to the cameras. Well, Josh, did he go in there with that strategy, or is it because nobody else is talking to him that he's talking to the cameras?
Well, I don't think Josh has watched this show ever, so I think it's circumstantial, but nevertheless, I love it.
Yeah, I do too. When I was watching that whole segment, I was like, okay, I'm starting to love Josh more and more.
I like how awkward it is when like he is talking to the cameras and someone walks in the room and they're like, what?
Like, I'm starting to see like also like a few of these people. I'm like, oh, you're actually a recruit. I wasn't 100% sure, but like there's a couple people now that are like, I'm starting to see like, okay, you're probably a recruit. And speaking of recruits, we get a Beth segment. Woo. Talking about how she's close to Austin and the Sunsetters, especially Ty, mention of a showmance. We talked about it on Monday's episode. They're still not a showmance, but a showmance, but not a showmance. And I just...
Beth is looking for, this is what's, I feel like she's not playing Big Brother anymore. She's coming to try to get Canada to love her so she can be the Canadian Bachelorette or something, because
Mhm.
she's flirting with Ty, she's flirting with Jet, and they're starting an undercover showmance, and she did say that she didn't want to hear him say showmance again in the episode.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't want to put any more energy toward it. And we get a rap segment that I really don't want to talk about. So I'm just going to move
They
on.
cut the best part of the rap segment out. Wait, was that
They
rap?
did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, okay. I was like, that was the rap.
You know what they did not include? And I don't think it's in the notes, so I'm just gonna bring it up.
Mhm.
I don't think they included any of the house meeting.
No, I think
That'll
we're
be
getting...
tomorrow.
But
I
at
think
the
we're getting
same,
house meeting tomorrow.
I think
we
we'll get
will-
the
Yeah.
house. Yeah, I think we're gonna get the house meeting and then the flip.
not that it was
flip,
good TV
flip.
or anything.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I
we'll
think they're gonna use the house meeting. Sorry, go ahead, Logan.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think they're gonna use the house meeting and make it more dramatic than it was to emphasize on how the flip is gonna happen.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if the flip happens, I think we'll see a little bit more of the house meeting.
Flippity,
If the
flippity, flippity.
Yep. And we will talk about the horrible house meeting and all of the flipping and the flopping and the flip flops and the sandals and the chanclas and all that when we get to the live feed updates. But now we move into Veto Picks. Once again, this season, the HOH is not playing Veto. And I still don't like it, I think. I don't know.
I like how it's 5 people now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love watching just like the typing on the note.
Not you breaking the fourth wall,
Oh, no.
Jordyn.
Our secrets are out. But no, I think it makes the dynamic of the game a little bit harder because the HOH now loses control. Because if you're
Yeah.
HOH and you give noms and then you play in veto, you have some control of who wins. But now you're not playing and you have no control up until the next nomination ceremony.
Yeah.
So it's going to see who is going to be smart with that and work around it. So
I think like going, they probably wouldn't give you that information, but if I was HOH, I'd be going into when I get my key, I'd be like, do I get to play in veto? Because I feel like that would, like, you would want to know to kind of adapt what you're planning on doing.
Yeah.
Which I'm so shocked about. Like, they could have made this a big deal and it was just a very like, oh, it's 5 people. HOH doesn't get to play. Like, not a big deal.
So this has been a thing since BBCAN 6 or BBCAN 7. I genuinely don't remember which season
I want to say 7.
It was one of those two. They blend together in my head, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like we're going to get a lot of people not wanting to be HOH this season again, because we did see that in 7. I'm not even going to reference 8 because there really wasn't a lot of gameplay.
And you really have like, I feel like veto is more important in a game without being able to play in it.
I was going to say veto is going to be more important. Yeah, that's where that's what I'm thinking.
Like, the only thing that's exciting about being HOH is you get that video from home in the Wendy's window. You get some Wendy's. You get that comfy bedroom that's apparently an iceberg, you know?
I would love that HOH room. If it is an iceberg, I'm on board. Sign me up. I'm there. Like,
y'all know what it is, right?
We'll talk about that later.
It's not it's not an iceberg.
No, but the bedroom is ice cold.
Oh.
Like, it's the coldest room in the house.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
according to the live feeder.
so the reason it's ice is from last season when it was superheroes, and it's Superman's Fortress of Solitude is all made of ice.
Oh, I'm not a superhero person.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I knew that, but I'm just saying,
Like, it's the coldest
everybody
room.
has complained that it's the coldest room in the house. I guess the 2 bedrooms are really, really hot, and then HOH is apparently freezing.
Not that. I can't do that.
So I have a question. What happens if it's house guest choice? Can you pick the HOH?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
Oh.
She
I
wouldn't
think
be
it's just like
eligible.
the HOH. Yeah, the HOH just because she picks someone.
Yeah.
I don't think HOH is eligible. But we do get the picks. Austin picks Victoria.
Yep.
Kiefer picks Tara, and then Josh gets house guest choice and picks good old Miss Tina Thistle. And I understood his logic, but also if I'm trying to get someone that I think I can beat in a competition, I pick Beth.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get to see Tina compete in the endurance sludge hold up this bucket for your life challenge, but we did see Tina compete in the HOH this week, and she definitely made it further than Beth.
Yes.
Or they were out around the same time or something. So like if I'm trying to think of like overall who I'm gonna beat in a competition, I'm not picking Tina, I'm picking Beth.
Yeah, I could see it. And then that goes right into that segment in the Expedia room between Toya and Tina. And who was it that walked in as well?
It was Kiefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
Kiefer
they were
talks.
like, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, and Kiefer, I didn't understand this comment from Kiefer. He said that he thinks it'll come down to him and Josh. Why are you saying this when there's 3 other women competing? I was confused.
Maybe he said it because he felt like they were just gonna throw it.
Oh, I could see that.
Maybe.
Because those are all 3 of the people picked were Team Destiny.
Yeah.
That's another thing to think about. I just need this team shit to be over, honestly. I'm tired of it.
I think we got 4 weeks.
I think we do too.
And we had a conversation last night, and I hope it's in the notes to talk about a little bit later. Some speculation.
Yeah, we do. Because more things are happening. Yeah, so after this, we get a conversation with Tara and Rohan. And apparently they're working together. I haven't really seen this on feeds much, so I guess they're like keeping it under wraps.
It's an
for the most part.
undercover thing. Like they're doing a pretty good job keeping it undercover because it does not look like, from what I've watched, and I've watched a little bit here and there, it doesn't look like they don't look like they're together.
No.
They're like the polar opposite of Brayden and Austin.
Mm-hmm. I do really like
and Tara. Then we have Brayden and Austin, who are like this.
Yeah. I really like this pairing of Tara and Rohan. I didn't expect it whatsoever. But we get them talking in the bathroom. And Rohan's pretty confident that if Josh or if the veto is used in general, that he's going to be the replacement nominee. And so now that Tara's playing in the veto, he wants Tara to gun for the veto, so that way noms stay the same. Santi, what do you think about that?
I think it's interesting relationship because they're so different. Oh, but the comment that you haven't seen them working together really on the feeds, I kind of wonder if they're just giving us this segment to lead into tomorrow's flip. I always like look at the editing of like how is the editing happening with what's going on actually in the house. So I wonder if it's not as real as we're being shown.
That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because I just don't
Yeah.
see it, and unless there's conversations that we're not seeing.
And I now that I think
I'm
about
sure
it,
there are.
well, now that I think about it, when we looked at the alliance chart on Monday's episode, I do remember it was like because Tina and Tara are also working together.
Do you want me
And
to
it's
pull it up?
I think I remember. This is really the only thing I wanted to talk about it with that. But Tina and Tara are working together. And they're working with Kyle and Rohan because Kyle and Rohan are a big duo, which we'll talk about later because that has to do with the vote flipping as well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was an interesting conversation to place in there. And then we go straight from that into the have not reveal. They know there's a ball pit. We have a lot of shit to talk about with the ball pit. Latoya is freaking out.
She is not amused.
No.
And all Tara says is, I'm not going to be able to sleep in a ball pit. This is her worst nightmare. And I'm here like,
see, I would have been Victoria in this moment. Like I would have been so excited, but I feel like as the season goes on, they're gonna be like, I hate this fucking ball pit. I don't want to like as soon as we start getting have-nots.
We are
Uh-huh.
I thought it was funny. I forgot who said it, but I thought it was funny when they said that there's definitely something more to the room than the ball
Toya.
pit. It was Toya. And it's like, hello, the room's surrounded with arrows pointing down. Obviously, there's something there.
And we will get into what that something could be.
Give me my night vision goggles. I'm going swimming.
Right. So after this, we get into the veto comp, which is called Don't Upset the Apple Cart. We get Beth hosting. And the object of the competition is everyone has a wheelbarrow and there's like a track that you have to like push the wheelbarrow on. And you can only take up to 5 apples at a time. And then you have to go back to your farmer's market. And then the most apples stacked after 30 minutes wins the veto comp. And we get a little bit of insight as far as the Team Destiny players who are playing the competition. Because obviously, if Kiefer or Josh wins, they're going to use it on themselves. I think that's kind of obvious. We get Tina talking about how she wants to keep noms the same. Tara does the same thing because they're both working with Tina working with Kiefer in the Sunsetters, Tara working with Rohan, who would be the replacement nom. And we get good old Spicy V being like, I'm not winning this comp, but let me make it let me make it as realistic as we possibly can. What did y'all think about the veto comp?
I thought it was good.
I like the different take on having to balance something and bring it back and forth. I would have been awful at it. I would have probably stared at my apples just like Josh and been like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Santi, how do you think you would have done in this comp?
Oh, I would have done horribly. Like that is one thing that I would not be good at is competitions. Because when I saw that, I'm like, how would you balance them? And then I saw Josh's strategy. I was like, okay, that works, but it's taking too long, Josh. Like, come on, speed it up. Like, you're taking too long.
Yeah.
It was a fun competition because I don't think I've seen one like that before. And I like when they're new and they're not recycled competitions.
It is very similar to like a traditional first veto comp for BBCAN. I will agree. I did like the different take on it. See, this is a competition I think I'd be really good at. Because I do have pretty good balance. I may have vertigo, but like I have pretty good balance. And like honestly, stacking the apples, it's all geometry. And so if you like, my initial thought was if you can make tiny little pyramids out of the apples, like that's kind of the best way to go about it. Also, why are we using real apples? Why are we wasting good real apples on this competition? I was offended because that is way too many red delicious apples being wasted when they could have just sent them to me and I would eat them.
Or let the house guests keep them.
Exactly. Like they're all on PB&J and cookies. Like let them keep the apples.
Let me live on those cookies.
Yep.
Honestly. But we go through the veto competition. There's a lot of falling apples. A lot of falling apples. But we do get Kiefer locking in first with about a minute or so to spare. And he locks in after kind of just standing there for about 5 minutes and towards the end of the comp, going back, losing some apples, grabbing some more, and then locking in. And we get a good old BBCAN suspenseful ending. Ooh, is Josh gonna lock in? Is Josh gonna lock in time? Oh, he locks in with 1 second left. How convenient. Like,
I love that he waited till the last second. He was
yeah.
I'm using my second 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I'm using it.
But did he have a second?
And then,
did he? Or was it just, oh, conveniently, after you lock in, it's done. Oh my God. I don't know. But regardless, it didn't matter for him in the end because with 31 apples, allegedly, but with 31 apples, Kiefer is the winner of the power of veto. Yes. Thank you. Yes. I was not about to see Kiefer be the second boot after Miss Julie Vu. So I was very happy.
How interesting that the two noms were the final two.
Mm-hmm.
And they placed 1 and 2.
Well, Tina tied for second, but yes. I don't know.
Tina tying for second.
She did. It was Kiefer, and then Beth was like, well, there was a tie for second and third, so I'm just going to skip to first. Also, Beth needed to calm down with this like octave and a half higher than her normal speaking voice comp hosting, because I literally had to like take off my headphones while I was watching the episode at one point and be like, I just need you to stop talking. Like, I understand that the entire point is to
be an apple with a worm.
Yeah, and if you're not watching the visual, we've got Jordyn over here with a hand puppet, the worm. But yeah, Santi, what do you think about Kiefer winning this veto?
I think I'm glad Kiefer won the veto, because it made the week a lot more exciting than it would have been. I think had somebody else won the veto and Kiefer and Josh stayed on the block, it would have just been an easy, clear cut, let's get rid of Josh. But with him winning the veto, it has given this week a lot more energy. So I'm very happy that Kiefer won the veto. I don't know if I want Kiefer to be in the game for very long, but...
Gasp. I do. I like him. I think he's great.
Him. I like
why.
him.
Yes, I think why.
I like him. I just don't know. Yeah, I need to see more of what he brings to the game.
Mm-hmm.
He was even surprised he won.
Which I love when that happens. I love when that happens. And yeah, we do get an emotional moment from Kiefer talking about doing it for Haida Gwaii. I didn't know going into the season whether Kiefer was going to be someone who wins comps. And, he proved me wrong with that veto win. I remember seeing it on feed spoilers and I was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, so what is this comp actually going to be?
I remember seeing just watching Josh talk about it after. He was like, apples. I was looking at apples.
I will say I did actually like Josh's strategy.
I thought they were going to be spelling on the apples or something.
Oh, yeah, because all we knew were apples and wheelbarrows until tonight. And I was like, balance? Is it like a carry
Go
all
get
these
your letter.
across. Yeah, go get your letter. I don't know. But
I thought it was going to be a comp like that, where you had to go under
Yeah.
the log or some water.
like that
involved
caveman comp where we got to see what was his name from BBCAN 5, the first boot? Was it Mark? It was some generic white man's name. Mark or something like that.
No, it was, oh my God.
Mark.
No, what was his name? There was
What
two.
is he?
Great question.
Okay, the first boot
Mark,
was.
are you out there? Mark.
The first boot
Mark,
was Mark.
what are you doing?
Mark
Yep.
was the first boot.
I don't know where that came from in my mind because I watched BBCAN 5 like 3 years ago, but that was right before I got in. But yeah, Mark, come on the podcast. We'd love to have you.
He's
No,
so forgettable that I thought Dallas was the first boot in BBCAN 5.
I wish he was.
But no, the only reason I remember him is because they were wearing those caveman outfits and we got to see him and he was looking really good. We didn't get to see him in much of the episodes and I was sad because he wasn't going to bring a lot, but he was nice to look at.
There was also the beaver one where they had to dress up as beavers and go under
God,
the logs
no.
and in the water.
No.
It just felt very Canadian lumberjacky.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the fallout of the veto competition, we see a lot of conversations with Tara, Rohan, Austin, Josh. We get to see a mention of Kyle, which I was like, oh, you're still there. I forgot you were in the house.
You're not the real Kyle.
Yep.
But yeah, so we get this chain of events where we see Tara and Rohan talking after the veto, trying to get Jed up as the replacement nominee. We get Rohan talking to Austin. And Austin does mention that she's fearing some of the bigger guys who may win comps later on and nominate her, especially in next week. We get after that, we get a random Josh and Kyle conversation. I think they just had to have Kyle at least once on the show this episode. So they were like, this is the conversation where he's calling Josh delusional.
I do not like how they are treating Josh.
No.
I know it's not looking good for him, but like, let him enjoy his last few days. I think I said this yesterday or Monday.
Mm-hmm.
No,
whenever we were on. Time is not. I don't. What is time? And then we get an Austin and Tara conversation. But before that, we get a Rohan DR talking. This is the first time where his like villain side is even alluded to thus far in the game. Where he says that he wants Tara to do his dirty work, and so that's what Tara goes and. She does that. She's, deflecting his name because they're working together out of nowhere, seemingly. She is also trying to shift the target in Austin's mind to Jed, claiming that Jed is running the house, which I would disagree with. And we can talk about that more when we get to the live feed spoilers. I definitely don't think Jed is running the house. I think Jed is part of the group that is running that and connected to the people. Yeah, he's in a great position. And we also do get Tara clocking the cross-team alliances. She doesn't mention anyone specifically, but she does bring up this concept to Austin of cross-team alliances, which we know to be true because of the Sunsetters. And we get a conversation after Tara of Austin and Brayden, the remainder of the dolls, attached at the hip, basically. I'm surprised this was the only time we saw them together. But we do get Austin talking about how she thinks if Rohan stays, that she'll go up. And a tease, even though we knew it wasn't going to happen, a tease of Brayden talking about a potential LaToya backdoor.
This makes me so angry.
Mm-hmm.
I like Big Brother, stop playing with my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to see this conversation on the feed, so I was like, why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
But they also did make a good point.
It is too early.
They want to make sure if they're going to take the shot, they're not going to miss.
Yeah.
Which
if you take a shot at not really the baddest bitch in the house, you better, I forget what the rest of the Ica quote is.
You better not miss.
You better not miss. I didn't know if it was that exact verbiage, but yeah. Santi, what are you thinking about this whole Rohan, Tara, Austin, Brayden, somewhat Josh, Kyle debacle fallout from the veto?
I think it's going to lead all to the House meeting. All of this is leading up to the House meeting. The most interesting conversation.
Not the House meeting.
Yes, the House meeting. House meeting.
I think it's interesting that they were considering putting LaToya up because LaToya's target is like this big right now. And
literally,
if they're smart, they're gonna wait a couple weeks till LaToya's target is about this big, and she's doing it to herself.
Yeah, the target got bigger. For those of y'all not watching the visual on YouTube, the target got bigger. When Santi was describing it. Yeah, I agree. I definitely think LaToya.
Shenanigans tonight.
I can't handle your shenanigans tonight. I definitely think LaToya is someone who's either going to go last pre-juror, or if they do a double around the time of first or second juror, I think that's when, depending on who is in power, I think that's when they're going to take a shot at LaToya, unless there is a very good opportunity to do it before that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is, if she just let things happen with the flip and just faded back and not try to control it so much.
Okay. One thing I want to say about LaToya, I did like how she described why they were called the Sunsetters in the DR.
Yes.
That, we're sending bitches home one at a time.
Into the sunset.
Into the sunset.
But she's still canceled in my eyes because of the whole sending Julie Boo home.
I mean, yeah. And since we're alluding to this House meeting and the vote flip so much, one more thing we got to talk about. Kiefer did decide to use the veto on himself. I'm loving this green veto. I love that they changed the veto every season. I'm loving the green veto.
I hate the veto.
Really?
Yes, the V annoys me. It's like
really, I love the V.
It's so gigantic.
Okay, that's what I love about it. It's so extra.
I like how extra the V is, but I'm not living for the extra greenery from the dollar store that was added to it, and then the rest of. I just don't like the green veto.
I will be in the minority here. I love the green veto, but we do get Kiefer using the veto on himself. Austin, to no surprise, replaces him with Rohan, meaning that our final nominees for tomorrow's eviction episode are Rohan and Josh. And I loved this comment from Josh afterwards. If you came here to make friends, I don't know, go to a daycare or something.
Yes, go to the daycare.
Jordyn, you have changed my mind. I am loving Josh now. I really do.
Go to the daycare. Go down to the ball pit.
Right. But yeah, so that's about all we have for the episode, unless y'all have anything else you want to talk about real quick, and then we'll get into live feeds.
No, there's so much going on leading into tomorrow that episode was nothing compared to what we've received on the feeds today.
Yes. And before we bring it up, if you don't want any live feed spoilers, thank you for watching. Click off. I'm going to stall a little bit longer. Run away.
Come back.
Make sure you're subscribing and liking and following and all of that stuff.
Make some tea.
Yes, make some tea or some lemon water. In my case, I've got some good lemon water today. Okay, let's get into
back some pineapple juice.
Sure, I can't because I'm allergic to it, but you do that, Jordyn. We're gonna get into live feeds now. From Tuesday, really the only eventful thing was this quote unquote house meeting, where if y'all didn't see it on feeds, everyone kind of is ganging up against Josh. There really isn't much else to talk about with it because it was really fucking boring. And it's basically everyone calling out Josh. We will probably see snippets of it on tomorrow's episode. But yeah, and we end it with Beth saying It doesn't really matter what else we say. We need to stop, ganging up on him. Josh, you're going home is basically what we end the house meeting on Tuesday with, which may not be the case, but what did y'all think about this boring ass house meeting?
It was
I was
disgusting.
falling asleep. I watched 2 minutes of it and I just wasn't entertaining. I wouldn't call it a house meeting. I would call it a dictatorship of gaining up on one person. Yeah, I was not a fan of it. Next.
I'll say this. I'll say this about the house meeting. Had Josh flipped out and like just went crazy on everybody, he'd be gone. But the fact that he was calm and like somewhat making sense during all of this helped him out a lot. And I think that this, as boring as it was actually to his benefit. I think it helped him a lot more than it hurt him, and because of his reaction to everything. Even though they were being horrible to him, it was just a big Josh bashing session, and it was not necessary at all.
Yeah, so
what Jordyn said next.
Hours, over the last 24 hours, the vote has been flipping.
I think it's flipped about 4 times at this point.
And flipping.
So we start currently
as
flipping.
We know, currently possibly flipping. Yeah.
So we get just a little bit of a breakdown on the specific flipping. We started today with this plan, a 7-3 vote against Rohan. So this was kind of the first big flip. And it was Ty talking about doing this flip to get Rohan out instead and keeping Josh, with LaToya not really on board for it. And we do get sort of the repercussions of this throughout the day. And we get a lot of conversations between Ty and Toya about the move to make. And what I was talking about earlier about how Tara was saying Jed is running the house, I would say instead Ty and Toya are running the house currently. Toya still kind of has the house kind of wrapped around her finger a little bit.
And she's smart. She's letting Ty lead with this because she doesn't want to be the one to do it. She doesn't want to bring it up. She is in the words of Rohan, LaToya is letting Ty do her dirty work.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then afterwards we get sort of those repercussions. We get Ty realizing later on in the day, I believe it was like right before or as the episode was airing on the East Coast, on feeds, because we were getting feeds during the episode, which was really confusing. But Ty realizing
Sparky is in a mood today.
Sparky is in a mood today. But we get Ty realizing that voting out Ro means that Kyle's going to come after him. And so now Ty is kind of flipping, even though he was the initial flipper. He's kind of flipping on that as well.
That's a possible Josh.
Yeah. Another important thing, which I didn't really see the beginnings of this. I only saw the Toya conversation, but we get LaToya talking with Jed and Tina, talking about how apparently Kiefer exposed the Sunsetters Alliance minus Beth to Josh, which was, I didn't see Kiefer talking to Josh, but I saw LaToya talking to Jed and Tina about it. And so I'm just like, for Kiefer's game, why are we blowing up this alliance week 2?
I think so. Why I think he might be doing it, he might be trying to set himself up to last a little bit longer. I don't think it's the smartest idea, because I'm going to be honest, I feel like we're going to have these teams for at least another 2 weeks. So I don't think you should be blowing this up so quick, but go off.
Yeah.
I think this is the beginning of Keith Pfeiffer's downfall. I think he's going to become a sloppy player where they're not going to be able to trust him with information.
Mhm.
And I think
It's
we're starting
already
to see
getting
it.
sloppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a tightening of which it's kind of seeming like it's the core four within the Sunsetters. I think we're going to see a lot more tightening of a four alliance between Jed, Ty, Toya, and Tina. And we're going to see sort of, because Beth was already kind of on the outs. They've talked on feeds about how they don't really trust Beth. Not a lot of people in the house really trust Beth right now, with the exception of Austin and Brayden, it looks like. And so I think we're going to see a tightening of the four, and Beth and Kiefer kind of being the auxiliary two still in it. But I feel like if someone from the Sunsetters is going to have to be nominated at some point, I feel like they're probably going to push it to be more Beth and Kiefer rather than some of the other members. We do also get a lovely, 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 lovely bathtub scene with Jed and Ty today, and I was entertained. Jordyn was entertained. Santi, I assume, was probably.
I was entertained.
Santi was entertained. I don't really want to talk about it more because we'll be here for another 2 hours. But
ladies, they were naked in that tub.
And yeah, I read one of the tweets.
I think it was Ty was saying, "Bro, it touched my leg," and
That's
I was like,
the one.
"Oh Lord, okay." I don't want to talk about it anymore because we do have
I'm
more.
assuming that two things were touching each other's legs. I want to assume because that outline in the towel.
Jordyn, not the. Anyway, and as
Viewer
sort of like,
discretion is advised.
viewer discretion is always advised when it comes to the fallout, honey. But we get it was like a couple hours
In the
before
words of Suzette, hey boys.
Hey boys, yes. Yeah, so we get a couple hours before this comp, or the episode was airing on the East Coast. We get sort of these screenshots appearing of Josh in the ball pit, and we see these balls that are a little bit bigger than all the others and aren't really reflecting the light like the others. And so we initially see, I think it was initially we saw the orange one, and then more screenshots were kind of coming into BB Twitter. Yeah, we see a yellow one, we see a blue one. Does that mean that there's a secret power in the have-not room? I think so.
So not only do I think there's a secret power, what I think there is a possibility of, now let's just speculate, all alleged, because we are not, Big Brother has not confirmed anything.
Mm-hmm.
One, we talked about that Expedia room on Monday.
Mm-hmm, we did.
And how there is that secret room behind it.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm thinking could be inside the balls, or going to send the finder on to a like scavenger hunt, very Moose Marsha, kind of similar to what they did when Brittany and Sarah unlocked the thing in the have-not room.
Mm-hmm. Or something like William and BBCAN 5 finding the veto and like crawling through the crawl space.
Right.
Or Allison.
So
or Allison
this
as
is
well,
what
yeah.
I can see happening. Those balls have hints. They're going to lead them into the Expedia room, and the person will find like a note in the Expedia room, like the room that's outside of the Expedia, the secret room, and then they'll have to go back into the ball pit to unlock whatever is hidden underneath all the balls.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there's also other possibilities, and I'm starting to think we might actually be having returning players coming into the house potentially tomorrow night as the new team captains.
I could see it, because the one thing kind of alluding to that is we do have in the backyard, there is this TikTok screen wall, and they've been showing TikToks all day of prior seasons, we get a few scenes with Adam Pike. I don't even remember who else was on there, but we get a lot of TikToks of them like showing like big important game moves. And so that kind of reignited BB Twitter's thought that maybe we are actually getting returners. My question is, why are we getting like other than a COVID protocol, which is kind of really the only thing I could think, why are we getting them 2 weeks late? Because normally when we get additional people added, whether it's returners or like the secret war room, it's like a week after, and it's normally after the first eviction. So I'm curious as to why we're getting it week 3.
What makes me think of the ability that it's maybe coming week 3 is, you know, BBCAN, we do bring people in a lot, and maybe they thought, oh, let's not do it right away, so they think that they're the only ones. I think they're doing it to get, they're getting more of a, they want more of a surprise factor to the house.
So Allison,
because after that the first vote out, Julie went home, whatever. I think they want this cast to think they're the only ones.
Was Allison a week 3, Santi?
She was week 3, yeah. Because it was Paul was the first HOH.
She lived in the war room for a week.
With what's her name? Oh, the drag queen Scott that we never got.
Scott Contessa!
Yeah.
Scott Contessa, my love, where are you? I miss you. Come join us on the Fallout again.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I mean, I was mad about that, but I'm not mad because Allison is one of my favorite BBCAN players. So like, I was good. But yeah, and then
what about like, there was also that, was it season 3? There was that twist where Levita.
That was 4.
Yeah, okay, so there was a hotel thing.
And it was Levita and Kelsey.
And that was like week 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was 5.
See, yeah, so that could also be why, like, Big Brother.
Yeah.
I think they're doing it to have more of a boom surprise.
Yeah, and what I do always love about BBCAN is you can very clearly see that like there's a lot of influences from BBUS, but we do also get a lot of influences from BBUK in this sort of bringing people in late, hiding people. And that's what I've always loved about BBCAN and why it's my favorite franchise to watch, because it is still very social strategy, which we don't really get a lot of social strategy in the UK, which is always like, it's a great, if you haven't watched BBUK, go watch BBUK because it is a lot of just good, trashy entertainment TV. Like that's just the best way to describe it. And we saw that in season 4 when they brought Nikki Graham over, how much entertainment she brought, even though BBCAN 4 is my least favorite season, but Nikki Graham brings it so much up further that like, it was just so good. But
I liked Tim more than Nikki.
That particular season, Tim tried to put in the like BBUK AU format when he was like, tell me who I should nominate.
Well, do you know why he did that? Because that was so BB Australia, they actually had a HOH type situation like that, and he used the gummy bear strategy to nominate people, and that's why he did it in BB4.
Yeah, I watched his original season.
Yeah,
but he was using that to his advantage. Like it was gameplay Canada would never try. Till then, I guess. Till now,
I do love Tim as well. But yeah, so as we are looking, I'm currently, on BB Twitter. The vote is still kind of flipping. I don't think we're gonna know for sure until later tonight or tomorrow morning where this vote is actually gonna lie. The current flip seems to be back onto Josh. Yeah, the current flip is back onto Josh.
Unfortunately,
very unfortunate.
I don't want to
But
see that.
no, I don't know. But shall we do some eviction predictions, y'all?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Are we going to talk about Beth and then eviction predictions?
I don't want to because she's just getting more problematic.
Yeah.
All
I
You
saw
want
that
to wait
clip.
till she's more problematic?
What I will say, she called LaToya aggressive today. To her face.
No.
I don't want to bring it up anymore because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And like any comments I've had about Beth in the past, no. We're done with Beth. This is now the second. I don't want to talk about her other comment either. But
I would say it's the third, honestly.
This is like the third or fourth time that
Beth,
that
3 strikes, you're out.
pretty much. Not even like 1 strike, and I was kind of like, no, not really. I feel like we are still going to continue to get a lot of Beth edited on the episode, which is unfortunate. But right now, Beth, nah. Toya,
Ty
also
deserves
nah.
better. Ty deserves better.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
Absolutely. But yeah. Back onto positive things, not really. Eviction predictions. Santi.
Rohan
play the
is going
music?
to go. That is my eviction prediction.
Okay. Jordyn.
This is really difficult because I'm going to do it anyway. I'm sorry. I feel like it's going to flip back onto Josh. And I do not want to see it. I would love to see Rohan, but it's not looking good at the moment. So I have to say Josh.
Not me being the deciding vote. Okay, here's my thing. I think I don't want it to be Josh, but I do think it's going to be Josh, and I have a reason for it. Because I think if LaToya isn't on board, the house isn't going to do it.
Right.
So I'm going to say Josh. I don't want it to be Josh. I also don't really want it to be Rohan because I think both of them can offer more to the show.
I feel like either way, we're losing a villain.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of seeing Josh come out as a villain. Nobody likes him. Nobody trusts him.
Yeah.
His comments like, this is TV. You don't want, go join the daycare if you want to make friends. Kind of bold. And then Rohan getting Tara to do his dirty work. So we're really seeing the 2 villains come out. I think at this point, if you would have asked me this earlier in the day, I would have said Rohan. But now that it's flipping and it's rapidly flipping, I don't know. I think it might be too late.
Yeah.
But it is Big Brother. Anything can happen.
And
I'm going to keep hoping that this is not goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But regardless of who gets evicted, we will be back live tomorrow night after the episode airs to talk all
Hopefully
things
a little bit
eviction.
earlier after the episode airs.
Let's hope so.
I had a moment. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see who is going to go home. I feel like generally I'm pretty excited for episodes. I'm sure tomorrow night we're going to get a Jed and Ty bathtub bumble bath moment.
I hope so.
They put some cheesy love music on it.
Or they
I
might
hope so too.
They might save that. They might actually save that to do a bromance package in like 2 weeks.
Perhaps.
Yeah, but they've been very bromancy to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think they're just gonna get more.
So they'll put their first meeting when they meet and they're undercover brothers. When they get in the house, and then blowing the bubbles back and forth like the bath today. Probably insert some wild hot tub action.
I'm gonna I'm going to close out this podcast before Jordyn gets any more excited. With that, y'all, thank you. If you're joining us live, thank you so much for joining us live. If you're joining us afterwards, thank you so much for joining us afterwards. All of our links for the fallout, as well as all of our individual socials, will be in the descriptions below, wherever you are listening to this podcast. Go do all that. Go follow these lovely people that I'm podcasting with, because it's a good time.
Turn the notifications on the YouTube video if you're watching from YouTube, just so you know exactly when we go live, because I'm trying to be more engaged with this and not so much tweeting links.
Yeah.
Other than that, I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow night.
And I'll see you guys next Wednesday.
And I'll see y'all tomorrow night. And with that, goodbye.